Greetings and welcome to the first in a series of videos dedicated to make web design made easy. My name is Dash Lalonde. I've been a web designer since 1994. Since that time, I have seen many changes in international frameworks that are used in website design today. I started with ASM and have used PHP, JavaScript, Python, HTML5, CSS3, as well as SQL databases. I run on a Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigabytes of memory. I use VS Codium, GIMP, Git, PHPMyAdmin, MySQL, Flask, PyCharm, and other programs and frameworks in my daily work. And this series will be a collection of videos showing various ways that these and other web design elements and frameworks can be utilized for a more enjoyable designing experience. As you may or may not know, I posted this project on my website. The link is in the description. You can download the files from GitHub. Alright, so before we get into it, if you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support us further, we have 2 stores online. Links are in the description. Get a nice little cup. Or you can buy me a coffee, which I happen to be drinking at this time. And you can use the QR code on the screen to do that. Or you can use the link in the description. Join my coffee club for added perks. All right, so let's go. So the first thing before any kind of project, I guess, is started, we'd make a sketch, a design, a list of things that we'd want on it, how we might want to set it up, all that kind of stuff. So I did that for this project, but this was a couple years ago, so I don't have my actual design notes with me. But I'm sure it looks exactly the way it was supposed to. The only change I did make is I designed this logo while I was creating the project. So if we look at this, what we'll see is very simple layout. We got our brand logo, got our brand. We have a menu here, hamburger menu, which comes out with a nice in and out fade in. And then this would be our main navigation for exterior links. And we have a couple elements here, we'll say, that we can later build into either a web component, which seems to be becoming popular, some kind of a card. We'll see how that goes. And then in the footer, we just have the copyright at this moment. You can put all kinds of things in there, and we'll build that out. Okay, so if we look at the code, is it this one? Yes. So here, and we'll bring that up a wee bit. Okay, so very straightforward. One thing I do is I use a class called landing, and this is what I will put all my content inside the landing div, and that'll be provides an opportunity to lay something out in between the body and this, in case I want to put, floating fixed item or something different, lay out all my modals, whatever. So everything is contained within the landing. Now in here, we'll just bring that down a wee bit. Yeah. Okay, so we have our header. Inside the header we have a section which has 2 asides. One of the asides has the brand name logo and the brand name. The other one has the button for navigation and the navigation itself. Then in our main, bring that all the way up, we have 2 asides again, well, a div and an aside, which has our external links in it using an unordered list and list items. And then we have a div with our 2 sections, which could be, like I said, there could be a card that we make up for this product, They could be web components that we create that we'll see what we do with that. And then in the footer, we just, like I said, we have the copyright information at this point. Very simple. And then looking at our CSS, which right now doesn't have anything in it. I'm going to just cut and paste as we go. But the first thing is when we're designing colors, you want to have color. So a recent upgrade to CSS is the light dark function, which allows us to provide a color scheme in light and dark. Very easy, very simple. And so we've got here our general color scheme. And in order to implement the light dark, we would establish color scheme, light dark, take that out. And then we have our light colors, and then we have our dark colors. So we'll undo that. Oops, 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 oops. Getting double schwammies here. Okay, never mind that. Too much. Oh, I know. That's the problem. Okay. That's what we did wrong. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay. Now we got our color scheme. Okay, we'll save that. And oh, wrong one. Okay, and let's look at our starter page. Okay, this is our starter page. Now I'm going to just refresh this, and then we'll see how those colors, if they did anything. Okay, doesn't seem like much happened there. Okay, because of course we haven't assigned anything. So this is how it looks prior to any kind of CSS being added. So put that aside there. Okay, so now this is our colors, and inside this, we're inside what is called the root. And this will allow us to set up custom properties, and other things can be put inside the root. We may or may not come upon those later. But let's just say for useful sake, okay, so we want to have a max width that we want to use. We're going to make a max width custom property, and what we're going to do is we'll say calc, and we'll go 100 SVW, and we'll minus 2 rem, which we'll say is 1 rem on each side of our element, and we're just making room for that. Okay, actually we'll go past that. We'll do a couple more. We'll do padding 0.5. That would be 0.5 rem. Pad 1 will be 1 rem. Pad 2. Whoops. Pad 2 will be 2 rem. Okay, put that on there. So now we have some custom properties for padding. Okay, so we got colors, we got some padding, we got something to start with. Now other presets, we're going to cut and paste here. So there's lots of different things you can set up your presets for. If we look at this right now, we got our links with underlines in it, no colors for headers, there's different settings, letter spacing, all kinds of stuff. So if we go down here, we'll go to the other one, and I'm going to look under presets. I'm just going to copy everything under the presets. Okay, right to there. Copy that. Get rid of that. And then under here, I guess we'll do it here. Should have done something. All right, that's under the root. I'll paste them here. And actually, I'm just going to take this out. And we'll take this out. Okay, because we have that up here. Presets. Okay, so in the presets here, this is a popular one. It's a media query that reduces motion. If anybody has motion issues and you have animations or color stuff, then this will, if they've chosen not to have motion, then that will eliminate any motion that you put into your page so that they don't have issues with having attacks or anything. The before and after, is the star, which means everything. The after and before, which is a pseudo class, which you can add to your every class you have to add additional design elements. So in this before and after, I've taken out all the padding, all the margins. I've set the font family to be Roboto. I've set box sizing so that everything within the box is measured based on what's inside. Outline of none, a border of none, and a text wrap of balance. We have hanging punctuation first to last on a whole page. Our body and HTML we've set to 100 SBW in width and height, and a smooth scroll behavior. For the body, we've set it up in a grid, placed everything in the center, and this is where I say with the landing, so the landing itself will get placed center, everything, and then inside the landing we'll start to design where we want placement. This will just get everything centered in the beginning. Font optical sizing, auto, and font weight. So for images, pictures, SVGs, and videos, just made them display block, max width, and border box for those, which we probably don't have to assign because we've assigned it earlier. For buttons, for A-links, for headings, and for fig caption, I put a padding block of 0.5. For H1s to H6, we put a text wrap of balance and a text align of center. For list items, we've got none, so we don't want to see these little markers here. Okay, if we can put extra markers in there if we want, we could design that later. We don't want to see that in general. For text decoration on the links, that's these underlines, we don't want any of that. We'll place whatever we want. For paragraphs, we've set up a maximum width of 75 characters, line height of 2, and a text wrap of pretty. We'll have to stick a little shiny there. For the buttons, we've given some padding on the block, which is top and bottom. Paddings on the inline, which are the sides. We've given it a transition so that we add a hover effect, focus effect, anything. Then there will be a transition period between those two events. Border radius of 0.4 rem. We've text wrapped in case there, you have an extra line, it'll wrap itself, and then the cursor. Now for these inputs, I just set these as static. We're not using them right now. We could, but as a, like I said, as a standard preset, I put my inputs that are telephone, numeric, and decimal to be letter spacing of 0.2 rem. My text inputs have a letter spacing of 1 rem. And then I've designed for everything a basic standard of their font weight, their letter spacing. I should probably take out the letter spacing because we've set that earlier. We'll just do that, like that. There we go. That's done. So a line height, and then font sizes. We use what is called clamp. So this will allow our fonts to adjust to the space that they're in. from a high to a low. And we've set, now what I do for my text, pretty much all my text, is I give it a color and I add a text shadow. The text shadow I use to give it a more of a three-dimensional look and to give it a more looks more sharp. I find so I've added that to all my text and everything I do. So those are basic presets. So we've saved that. That's all saved. Let's see what that does to our main page here. Okay, so now we've got everything centered. We see that the underlines are gone. The little dots for the list items are gone. And we've got everything nicely centered. So that's our starter page. Now we got everything centered. All right. Now, if we go down, so we're looking at presets. Now things, or our interactive class, oh, we're in the wrong one. Okay, we're over here. Okay, so now we have our, we've done our presets. Interactive classes, I just showed that, but so that's show hide. And these two I use on occasion, but I generally try to incorporate them in case I'm going to use them. So I'll just shove those in there, and then that way if I'm using JavaScript and I want to hide something or I want to show it, I've set up that it's displayed block. When you show, it's visible and it's opacity of 1. If you hide it, no display, it's hidden and no opacity. Okay, and then so some grid presets. Copy all those. Go back here to our grid. That's not 3 there. Oh yeah. Okay. So we'll go there. We stick those in. Okay, so this here, grid auto fit, I got specifically from Kevin Powell. Oop, up. There we go. And it just allows for the page to adjust to the width and to keep your content always within one frame. My landing is inline grid, and again I keep everything inside the landing between the body and the content, just so to me it makes it easier to manage my content. Okay, we've got the nav, which is inline grid, and then we got the header, products, footer, standard things which are inline flex. So these are all going to be flex items within the project itself. And okay, and that down there, make that, that. Then we go here. Okay, so then content. All right, so a lot of different content is in there, and everything, of course, that we've done. So we're going to go all the way down to the content, and interactive classes down here to contact. Okay. Copy that, and then our content based. Okay, Control V. All right. So we'll go up to here, wherever it starts. Back up. Okay, so content based. So again, I've kind of ganged some things together that have similar settings, or have these similar settings. I could probably have done this more, but that's how it's got set up. So all these ones all have Justify Content Center. So instead of having 5 different or 6, 7 times that out, we just cut it down to 1. These have Align Center. These have Justify Content Space Between, Space Around, Space Evenly. Our header, okay, so max inline size. Rather than width or max width, the inline size is the size within the boundaries of the body in the context of the element. So rather than saying max width, we're going to deal with just the inline size, and it's, we add padding, lining, and then some margin inline auto, which centers it within any kind of space between. Like we have our max width minus our 2, so that'll leave space. Margin inline auto, we'll put it right in the center. The footer, just setting up inline size again, max size. So I'm saying it's 90%, and then the inline size is 100, but the max inline size is 90. So it's 100% wide, but the max inline is 90. And then inline auto. The footer, same thing. We just adding some padding, inline size, lining the items, wrapping the text in it, setting the base, flex basis so that it can stretch, do whatever it wants, so it's responsive. The spans, again, the color, text shadow to make it be more, what do you call it? You see it better. How about that? And again, font size, clamping. Header section, in column, I want everything to be in a column, like all the different divs are in a column. Our brand, we're going to center it. Column direction based on the items are inside of it. The heading, text, again, color with a shadow, font size, the alignment, a transition because of the hover. So we're going to hover, and then we're going to change the colors, and then that will allow a transition, which you see when you hover it, it goes, not just quick. And this is what you call nesting. So inside of the brand, I'm hovering, instead of having this as its outside its own, we nest it inside, and that it's directly related to that one element. Reduces confusion. The notes button, basic designing of what we do with that. Again, the hover, which we could do this. We can just go like that, go X, go in here, like that, go V, and instead of end, we just go and hover. Take that out, and then we'll move all of this in, move this out. There you go. Now we got that nested inside the notes button. Okay, navigation, the max height of the navigation. Links are the full size. The UL is in a column. And I guess another thing is this is all under, we're going from responsive, okay? So if we go back, here we go, okay. Let's go back here. So we're in our responsive mode, okay? And get rid of that. So we're in responsive mode. So this is all the settings when it's in responsive mode, okay? So before we've gone full page, this is what's happening with that. Now, and as you see, things are all centered. It's just within these elements themselves, the elements are centered, but the elements inside the elements are not yet coded. So that's why they seem in different spot. But oh, we went too far. Okay, so there's our navigation. Then each link, so our links, our list item, how we want that set up, our actual links, how we want them to look, the hover, yeah, transition, okay. Then the aside, how we want that done, the logo inline size, so I've maximized the logo size. The products, how we want them laid out. Again, nesting inside to reduce the page size, to bring things into each other so that there's no referencing outside elements. Okay, and then so that is how we look on our basic setups. Okay, so without adding any other coding with for having full screen, we'll say. Okay, we haven't had a full screen designing yet, so we're oop, oh, oop, what am I doing? Okay, here we go, and here we go, and here we go. Okay, so that's your basic setup of how it's going to look. Let's refresh this, see how it goes. Okay, there we go. Now, so that's our standard without any kind of special coding, with just basic standard codes. We've got everything centered, and we got the links working, button, that all works. Okay, so these all work, standard bit. Now, so then, oh yeah, we don't have all that in there yet. Okay. So now, that's ready. Okay, our media queries. So this is max width 31.35 rem, and this is max width 8 or 60. So this is our smaller window, which we're going to work on, and it gives different settings for having a wider page. Let's just take this out. That in here. There. Now you see there's a difference. Okay, now, so we have standard settings where we're doing responsive, so we're just going to put in our colors, our sizes, stuff like that, and then we're going to look at how we're going to make that site, that page, more responsive, so when it's on a mobile device, it looks just as nice as when it's on an upper device. So this is not designed yet, so that's why it looks like that. But here you have it at full scale, everything's centered, and then we got all that nicely stuff, animation with that transition going through. Okay. And now when we go to full size, we want to take the higher settings. Now you can do this for however wide you want things to be. You can do 5 or 10 of these, however many you want. And there's also other ways of doing, instead of using media queries. But you know, I haven't had any success using the container thing. So still working on how that works within my coding. For some reason it just doesn't seem to work. So I use media queries still. So we got the second media query in here for the larger page. So now, there we go. So now it's just like our first one. Okay, so there was a little issue, I had to stop. Okay, so here's our page. And we shoot it out. There's our nice little hamburger menu. take that down, go back to the styles. Oh, the styles. There we go. All right. So that's all the media queries standard CSS we use. And we end up with this as a final page. Now, let's go back to why we did the color scheme. So we'll show up the settings. Now, if we change color to dark, we get a light dark on our, there we go. Now it's in order. Okay, now we got light dark. Go back to light. Right on. Okay, so that's basically a concept to conception, and just a standard means of how to design and then implement those designs to create your product or your web page. We will be going further into the the logo, the hamburger menu, and also once we start building this stuff out, either a web component, a card, we'll see what comes up. I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, if you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will do also another video on the light dark function and how we can utilize that to add even more color schemes to our web pages. If you'd like to support our what we're doing, then again, buy me a coffee. Links are in the description. We have a couple stores online that you can visit. Again, links are in the description. If you'd like to know more about who we are and what we do, there should be a link to a video here, and there might be another link to another video here. Okay, so thanks for watching, take care, and God bless.